Good morning, everybody. Looks like a pretty miserable day today. What happened to the sun? However, it does give us the perfect opportunity to read some Who Let the Gods Out. So we are on to chapter 23, which is called Crowning Glory. The Tower of London rose majestically from the early morning fog on the banks of the River Thames. Elliot, Virgo, Zeus and Pegasus popped back to the exact spot in the sky from which the wishing pearl had snatched Zeus, and flew down to where the other Olympians were hiding by the Beauchamp Tower, one of the smaller towers that line the main courtyard. "Where did you go?" said an annoyed Aphrodite. "We had to climb over the wall. I nearly gave myself a hernia getting fatso over." "I'm all muscle," whispered Athena. "Why are the children here?" "We had to catch a train," said Zeus, winking at Elliot. "But look lively. Hypnos is on to us. What's the score?" "The Crown's about to leave the Jewel House," whispered Hermes. "This is our last chance before it goes back to Buckingham Palace. Not even joking." "This is magnificent," said Virgo, looking around the historic grounds of the fortress. "What was it for?" "Chopping people's heads off," said Elliot. "Ugh, mortals are so barbaric," said Virgo. "Our punishments are civilised. Fines, imprisonment, your organs feasted upon by an immortal eagle." "Shh!" cried Athena. They all peered out from their hiding place again. 3 armoured trucks stood outside the Jewel House, surrounded by heavily armed soldiers. "How big is this crown?" asked Virgo, looking at the 3 huge vehicles. "Only one will carry the crown," said Athena. "The other 2 are decoys. We need to swap the crown before it's loaded into the truck." Nearby, 4 beefeaters were leaning on their pikes, enjoying a quiet cup of coffee. One very tall man, one very short man, one rather distinguished man, and one rather scruffy lady. "Right, children, you go and find Hephaestus outside and wait for us there," ordered Athena, to an outcry from the youngsters. "No arguments. Places, everyone. Aphrodite, you create a distraction. Daddy, you and I will tackle the soldiers. Hermes, disguise yourself as a guard and swap the crowns." Elliot and Virgo reluctantly climbed aboard Pegasus and strapped the invisibility helmet on Elliot's head, shimmering them out of sight. They were about to take off over the wall when a raven swooped down and landed on Athena's shoulder. "But what about me?" it whined. "I want to play." They all whipped around as Hypnos dissembled back to himself. "It's horribly early, isn't it?" said the demon of sleep, raising his ivory trumpet to his lips and blowing a thick fog of black smoke towards the gods. "Perhaps you'd like a little sleep." The Olympians scattered away from Hypnos's blasts, tumbling across the grass on Tower Green, hidden from the soldiers' view by the White Tower. "Oh, please," whispered Aphrodite, getting back to her feet. "There's only one of you. There are 4 of us. How hard do you like your butt kicked?" "Good point, cutie," laughed Hypnos. "Only fair that we even up the teams." The demon aimed his trumpet towards the 4 beefeaters and blew another almighty cloud of black smoke their way. It wafted around their big navy blue hats, splitting into 4 small cyclones that circled over their heads for a second before simultaneously sucking into their left ears. The strange sensation made them all instinctively put their hands to their head, but then, as one, they snapped to attention, drew their pikes, and started marching slowly towards the gods with their weapons aimed at their enemies. "Execute," they droned together. "Execute." "Look, the crown," whispered Elliot to Virgo. "It's coming out of the Jewel House." They both strained their necks to see the imperial state crown as a security guard carried it out on a red cushion. The purple velvet cap at the centre was encased by a frame of gold, platinum, and silver. Every kind of gemstone covered the crown: rubies, emeralds, pearls, and sapphires, and in the centre shone the most brilliant diamond. "There's the Earthstone," gasped Elliot. Even in the morning mist the diamond outsparkled its companion gems with a penetrating, otherworldly light. "Execute," moaned the beefeaters as they marched on the gods. "What's he done to them?" asked Hermes. "They're sleepwalking," said Athena. With the gods rooted to the spot, Hypnos raised his trumpets to his lips and to blast them again. Elliot dug his heels into Pegasus's side and cantered towards Hypnos. "I'll have that, thanks," he said, and snatched the trumpet from Hypnos's hands. "What? Who's there?" hissed the demon of sleep as his trumpet vanished into thin air. "Don't play with me." "Where's the crown?" said Elliot, making Hypnos spin round to find the direction of the unseen voice. "I can't see. We need to get closer." "Is that you, child?" grinned Hypnos. "So you want a game of hide and seek? You're it." Elliot put his fingers to his lips to silence Virgo as Hypnos put his hands in front of him to feel for the invisible thieves. The Beefeaters were now just meters away from the gods. "Looks like it's time for some fisticuffs," said Zeus, rolling up his sleeve. "Back in the day we enjoyed a good scrap." "We have to be gentle with them," said Athena. "They don't know what they're doing." Elliot smiled as Hypnos walked straight past him. The gods were going to nail this. "Forget fisticuffs," said Hermes, drawing his slender body into a low crouch with his hands raised. "I can handle this. Beefeaters, hold tight. I'm the Karate King. I'm a trained master and sucks to be you. I'm a black belt in Bosh." Hermes performed an elaborate series of martial art moves, kicking and lunging with a chorus of high-pitched cries. "Hey-ya!" he yelled each time, kicking his right leg higher with each shout. The Beefeaters stopped and stared. "Scared now, aren't you?" shouted Hermes, drawing his leg back for even bigger kicks. "Well, then check this action out. Hey-ya! Hey-ya! Hamstring! Ow! Ow!" Hermes yelped painfully across the grass, clutching his injured thigh. Elliot gently urged Pegasus on to get a better view of the ground, but the moment the horse's hooves hit the cobblestones, Hypnos fell over. They froze as he felt around, barely a metre from Pegasus's head. "Here I come, ready or not," sang the demon. Elliot looked to the gods for help, but the Beefeaters had their full attention. "Thinny, we've got this," said Aphrodite, signalling to her sister as two of the Beefeaters reached them. "Remember the old routine?" "As if it were yesterday," said Athena confidently, retreating across the grass to give herself a long run-up. "You throw me up, I'll take two of them down with a flying somersault before you cartwheel over and flip the other two on your head. Ready?" "Ready," said Aphrodite, kneeling down and cupping her hands. Athena sprinted towards her sister, ready to be boosted in the air, but halfway, confusion clouded her face. "We use my right foot. No, my left. Right?" she called as she hurtled towards her sister. "Right!" shouted Aphrodite. "Right as in foot or right as in yes, it's your left?" "Right!" yelled Aphrodite as Athena charged on. "Which right?" screamed Athena. "You need to give clearer instructions." "You're right." "I'm right about what?" screeched Athena. Too late. She put her left foot in Aphrodite's hands. "Seriously," Aphrodite groaned as she attempted to fling her sister in the air. "What have you been eating? I'm the perfect weight for my—" "Ah!" With a heave, Athena tried to leap gracefully into the air, but on the wrong foot and with all momentum lost, Athena splatted backwards on her bottom, kicking her sister in the head with her right foot. The two goddesses sprawled across the green. Come out, wherever you are," cooed Hypnos. As the demon groped towards Pegasus, Elliot tapped the horse's neck and pointed to the sky. Pegasus winked and, lightly as a feather, leapt into the air, just as Hypnos grabbed the empty space in front of him. "You bore run," yelled Aphrodite, holding her hand to her swollen nose, forgetting all about the Beefeaters. "They seem a little suboptimal," whispered Virgo, looking down on the gods. "They suck," groaned Elliot, as the imperial state crown started its solemn procession towards the trucks. "And they need to hurry up." The female Beefeater marched towards Zeus. "Execute." "I will not fight a lady," said Zeus, snatching her pike and throwing it down. "It would be unfair, unchivalrous, and The lady Beefeater grabbed Zeus by the chest, lifted him over her head like a paper dumbbell, and threw him onto the floor with a hard thud. "And bally uncomfortable," he groaned as he crashed to the ground. "Oof, my back." "Listen up," said Athena, holding Aphrodite's head at arm's length. "We're out of shape. We'll have to do this another way. We need to get into their minds, break the sleepwalking spell." Elliot stifled a frustrated groan. He checked that Hypnos was still creeping around below. Maybe he could snatch the crown himself. He looked at the team of soldiers and their machine guns. Maybe not. But as long as he kept his eye on where the crown was, the gods would still be able to swap it. "Execute," droned the old Beefeater, lifting his pike and aiming it at Athena. Athena put her hands to her brilliant head, searching her brain for a solution. "When was the tower built?" she suddenly shouted. The Beefeater immediately snapped to attention and instinctively launched into his guided tour. "The tower is believed to have begun in 1078 at the behest of William the Conqueror," he recited, still keeping Athena at the end of his pike. "The first building was the White Tower, which is an impressive 27 metres high. Now, if you'd like to follow me, the toilets are this way." With Hermes still rolling around, clutching his hamstring, the tall and short Beefeaters marched on Aphrodite. "Execute." Inspiration struck the goddess of love. She blew 2 kisses. The kisses floated through the air as pink wafts before settling gently on the Beefeater's lips. They stopped and inhaled the sweet scent of pure love. "Jim, in all the years we've been working together, I've never told you what a great friend you are," said the taller one. I don't appreciate you nearly often enough. Give over, Steve, blushed Jim. You're my best mate. I don't know what I'd have done without you when Fulham were relegated last season. There's something I need to say to you, said Steve, welling up. There's something I need to say to you too, choked Jim. I really love you, man, blurted Steve. I really love you too, sobbed Jim. We don't spend enough time together. Let's call the wives and arrange a holiday for the four of us. Great idea, howled Steve. Is this house next door to yours still up for sale? It is, sniffed Jim. Smashing loft conversion. I'm going to move in, cried Steve. Let's buy a caravan together, cried Jim, pulling Steve and Aphrodite into a huge romantic hug. With Aphrodite trapped between the two sobbing beefeaters, Elliot looked down to see the crown being loaded into a big black box. Hypnos was directly beneath him, pouncing intermittently at thin air. Zeus was still on the ground, with the lady beefeater ready to spear her prey with her pike. Execute. Stop, cried Zeus, holding his hand to the end of her weapon. In the name of love. She halted as Zeus stared longingly into her eyes. Speak to me, my darling, drawled Zeus. Tell me, what name the angels gave you when they crafted you from starlight. The beefeater's pike quivered. Janet, she whimpered. Janet, sang Zeus, searching desperately for a lyrical inspiration. Janet, Janet, you have a bum like a planet. What? Snapped Janet, returning her pike to Zeus's throat. Janet, if you don't love me, skewer me now, Zeus exclaimed, pushing the pike away gently with his palm. I have already been struck by Cupid's arrow. Another wound can't hurt me. As Zeus's words fought Hypnos' spell, Janet lowered her pike. Do you like cats? She asked shakily. Like them? Roared Zeus. Only one thing pains me more than the thought of a kitty without a warm lap. Do you know what I fear, Janet? Do you know what agony tears my soul apart? Do you know the one torture I cannot bear? Musical theatre? Janet ventured. My life without you, boomed Zeus, sitting bolt upright and clutching his lower spine. Tell me you feel it. Tell me you sense this connection between us. Tell me how many cats you have. 16, shrieked Janet, flinging off her beefeater hat to reveal an astonishing case of hat hair. Come here, handsome. Zeus gasped as Janet lunged and bent him backwards for a spectacular snog. Oh, gross, heaved Elliot. That larger saliva exchange cannot be hygienic, whispered Virgo with her head cocked. Elliot turned away to see the crown being loaded into the middle of the 3 trucks. Gotcha, he said out loud. And I've got you, screeched Hypnos, suddenly appearing in front of them in mid-air and grabbing at them. The shock made Elliot drop the trumpet, which became visible again the moment it left his hands. Hypnos swooped and caught his trumpet, bringing it straight to his mouth and sending a great black blast towards Pegasus. The flying horse elegantly swerved in the air, missing the smoke. Hypnos tried again, but he was still unable to see his invisible enemy. Pegasus dodged the blast again. Well played, said Hypnos, as the rumble of engines started up below. But I'll get you in the next round. I'm due at another game. Hypnos dissembled back into the Raven and flew over the high tower walls. No, cried Elliot. The crown's leaving. Elliot and Virgo watched in horror as the 3 trucks rumbled slowly across the cobblestones and out of the tower in a row. Which truck is it in? Said Virgo. It was the middle one, said Elliot. Which one's the middle one? Said Virgo. I don't know, shouted Elliot as the 3 identical lorries rolled down the hill. Quick, said Virgo. Let's get the others. They looked around the green to where Hermes was yelping like a wounded kitten. Athena was being marched into the gift shop with a pike at her back. Aphrodite was jammed between Steve, Jim and a caravan catalogue, and Zeus was in a headlock looking at cat selfies. No time, said Elliot, grabbing Hermes' bag and jumping back on Pegasus. We have to get to Buckingham Palace before Hypnos. Pegasus, take us to the Queen. Ooh, race against time now. Who's going to get to the crown first? Okay, I will see you tomorrow when hopefully the weather's a bit nicer. Bye.